guys, welcome back to the channel. My name's Ingrid, currently pregnant with baby number 6 after an absolute nightmare of a journey. As you know, I've been trying for 2.5, nearly 3 years almost, with all the vitamin combinations, the health checks, the miscarriages. It was a real infertility journey at quite a few points. We finally got there just with courage, positivity, and I'm sure the help of the vitamins and the progesterone helped me. If you don't know the full story, please go back, subscribe for free, and just have a little look at some of the vlogs that I've done prior to this one. It will just show you to keep trying, never give up. And don't listen to negative comments when people say, you've already got boys and girls, why do you need to try for another one? You're so blessed, you've got X amount of children. Don't listen. If it's in your heart to have another baby, you're past the age of 35 and people are saying, oh, you're quite old, you might need extra help, infertility, you know, IVF, blah, blah, blah. Don't listen. I have managed to get there through sheer determination. I've literally ditched all the people that were negative in my life and not listened to them. My husband has been a brilliant support network to me, although he was getting to the point where he sort of gave me a 2-year cut-off point. Our relationship got a little bit strained when he was like, we've tried 2 years, it hasn't happened, Ingrid. It must be just something up there saying, let's give up. We sort of sat down and talked how special and important it was to me and how much I really believed I could get there with his help and support, and we got there and we kept trying, and we agreed a cut-off point of September, which would have been 3 years, and I thank the Lord up above I fell in July. And like I say, that was me keeping on top of my diet. I was mainly plant-based for a long time. I dipped in and out of vegan and vegetarian the whole way through. I am really pescatarian, so I eat a vegetarian diet, but I do like fish. But I did for a whole year do plant-based, which was vegan only, to sort of strip my body of any toxins. I drank a lot of lemon and ginger and honey, Manuka honey. I had a vitamin combination going of CoQ10, which really, really gives you good egg quality if you're over the age of 35. It was in its purest form, high absorbency. It was recommended by Louisa Ziesman and also 2 of my lovely girly followers on here, Sophie and Anna. I, at the end, even started temping, which was recommended by Anna. That was the only thing I hadn't done. Basal body temperature, I'd never felt the need to. But in the cycle of trying, in June, I bought a basal thermometer, £10 off Amazon. And I don't know, perhaps it was the sheer determination and last ditch attempt of getting pregnant that I fell, but I was on it from June to July, monitoring my temperature every morning, similar time, between 5 and 6 a.m, not moving, sort of reaching out for the thermometer under my tongue. 10 seconds later, recording all the temperatures that were going on. When I reached that height of temperature 3 days in a row, I realised I'd reached my ovulation and timed that in with my pain that I was experiencing, which I always get, that mid-cycle pain. And yeah, we fell. I was so blessed, so lucky, so thankful. I'm not taking anything for granted, even though I'm approaching 26 weeks now. I'm embracing every day with happiness, and that's why I've not hopped on here for so long. I think the time has just gone on and got carried away with me, and I'm really enjoying this pregnancy, trying to anyway. It's quite a stressful time with COVID and the pandemic going on. It's a little bit more tiring because I'm older. It's my 6th child, so my body isn't like it was in 2006 when I had my very first baby. I carried him through 2005, had him the first day of 2006 on New Year's Day. That was my first baby. So 16 years ago, I had my first. So I'm no spring chicken, I know that. But this is just to give everybody hope that gets the news, well, you've started trying at 35, you've started trying at 36, things can take longer. Give it 6 months. If you haven't failed, you need to see a fertility expert. I truly and utterly believe, forget that first. I've spoken to a lot of people, gynecologists, GPs, my midwife, friends that are in the medical field. Hardly anyone says 6 months. Most people say it's a year of trying before you get success. It's not unusual. Okay, some people fall within a month or 3 of trying. That's brilliant. That happened to me the first 2 babies that I had. I fell within 3 months. Very blessed, very fortunate. However, Miscarriages are really, really more common than we think. You can have a miscarriage, which we class as a chemical, without even knowing. So your period could be 3 or 4 days late. You come on your period, you think nothing of it because you've not gone on this TTC journey before. You're quite new to it all. And that could be a chemical where your egg has met the seed, it's been fertilised, it's travelled up the tube, there's nowhere to go. So you've let off a little bit of the HCG, but it hasn't had time to properly connect and implant. That's called a chemical pregnancy. They don't class it as a miscarriage or a loss. I think that's all wrong, because when you have a chemical pregnancy, if you are on it, taking tests a few days before you're due on, you are attached to that baby. I don't care what anyone says. As soon as you get a positive pregnancy test, you're elated, you're happy, you're feeling reassured, you're feeling confident, you're opening brand new chapter of your life, new doors. And then it comes crashing down on you 4 days later. It's a chemical. It's shit. So, but they don't count that as losses in the gynecology world when they're thinking of putting you onto infertility, IVF specialists. They class as miscarriages or over a certain age as quite important. It's just like, sadly still, there is a stigma if you've already got a child or 2 children. If you want IVF, you sometimes in the UK are down the pecking order, because, you know, if you've been blessed with 1 or 2 children, you're not as important as someone childless. I do understand that side of it. Believe me, I do understand that. We're very blessed to even have 1 child, let alone 5. However, it's not what you want to hear, and everybody feels the need for something different. If someone had told me you've got 2 girls, 3 boys, you are, you know, coming onto a new chapter of your life now where you need to start thinking about, you know, enjoying your life that you've got, your family life. You know, you've been blessed with children, you've gone through pregnancy, you've gone through first days of school, losing teeth, first steps, blah, 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 blah. I know I have. I'm eternally grateful to God, to my husband, to everyone. I'm so blessed and so happy and forever grateful. But if I feel the need and want another baby, surely it's down to me and Aaron whether we want to go down that route. And that is why I made sure I didn't take all the negativity of people saying, well, you're quite old and I've already got 5 and I've got mixed sex, so don't bother. I really thought, no, this is what I truly, truly want and truly believe I'm going to, you know, make happen. So after I got all the initial vitamins in my system, made sure my smear checks were up, that's my cervical screening, made sure I was having reflexology to just get the balance right in my body, went plant-based, tried for a year, had those miscarriages which were really heartbreaking, had some chemicals. I kept going because I just felt that the chemical pregnancies and the miscarriages I had to turn into a positive, thinking, well, there's definitely a seed there, there's definitely an egg there, I'm ovulating, I'm having periods, I don't smoke, I don't drink alcohol, you know, why can't I have a baby? There's got to be something not right. I also went, as you know, I had 2 mid-cycle bleeds, which are really offbeat and unusual for me. But that was, I think, a year into trying. Again, go back on the vlogs and you'll see. And that was just, never had it in my life before. 4 DPO, so thinking, oh God, I'm halfway through to maybe taking a pregnancy test in 8 days time, and I came on a bleed and it was like a period. It was really weird. I had my vitamins and folate checked free on the NHS at my GP. That was all absolutely fine, but I was dipping in iron, got my iron supplements increased, and then, you know, went on the journey again, miscarried again. There was quite a lot happening. So when I had these vitamins and folate checks, they weren't going to give me a hormone check because they said I didn't qualify for it. But they did happily give me the vitamin and folate check, and it just gave me a baseline of what was happening in my body. And then I had another mid-cycle bleed, which was really weird. It was like in July, just before I fell. And that was just, I was so glad that I was basal body temperaturing them, because temping them, because I did think, I just don't know what's happening. And I really was getting to the point, pardon me, where I wasn't going to give up, but I was really thinking, is even though Vashti, my tarot card reader, saw me having a baby, a fire sign, and it all happening, and me believing in myself, I was starting to think, do you know, is this actually going to happen? I'm now having another period 3 weeks after my last period. This isn't right. And I did get really upset. I saw the period through because the GP said count it as not a mid-cycle bleed. You're perfectly healthy. We've done your weight check. We've done your smear test. Everything's up to date. You're doing what you can do to get pregnant, having regular intercourse, healthy diet, as much exercise as you can. There's nothing really more we can do. You've got your progesterone ready for when you get your positive pregnancy test, which again, if you go back on my vlogs, you'll see the hard work and effort I had to put in for that, because they used to count 3 losses and then you could get progesterone. Luckily, my gynecologist was sympathetic, absolutely amazing and lovely, realised that I was on the last ditch attempt of trying and doing everything in my willpower to get pregnant. She saw how important it was to me, saw that I had 2 miscarriages and a chemical, and said, you know what, I'm going to proceed with prescribing this. Say, relax, be happy, have regular sex, try and get pregnant, and I wish you all the best. And she was lovely, but she wasn't at that time meant to give me progesterone. She said, we do normally see it as, you know, keep trying, and 3 losses we can prescribe it. And I was so blessed that in November 2020 she prescribed it, so I had it at ready for when I got pregnant. But after that I didn't get pregnant. I had 1 positive pregnancy test which turned out to be a chemical, and as soon as I got that positive at 10 DPO I took a progesterone the next day, and then I came on my period. So I wasted, I think, like a week's worth of progesterone. I was really getting panicked, thinking, oh gosh, I've only got 3 weeks left, because they only gave me 1 month's supply. Because what you do is take your progesterone, then get back in contact with the gyno. They then scan you to make sure there's a viable pregnancy there. Then they prescribe more. But since then, as you know, in November, the UK charity Tommy's went to the government with loads of signatures and a petition, and now with their help they've now said progesterone isn't an expensive drug in the UK. They can prescribe it if you've had trouble getting pregnant, and they are willing to do so if you just push the fact with the GP that you've been on a journey, it's maybe been longer than a year, and you just want a little bit of help when you do get that BFP. They prescribe it now, but I did have a bit of an obstacle course to go through with that progesterone. So yeah, there was a time when I was losing a little bit of hope. And then my GP said, count that July bleed as your first day of your period, which I did on the 14th of July. Carried on taking my basal body temperature, carried on with my really load of vitamins that I was taking. Remember, it was a multivitamin I was taking, DHA Vital by Zeta West, and my Q10. All of that I was taking, never missed a day. Spent quite a lot of money each month on it, but it was worth it. And yeah, from like the 14th of July, I counted that as day 1 rather than just a mid-cycle bleed to get down and be on. And that's the cycle I got pregnant. I just could not believe it. Vashti said, I think it's going to happen around June, July. I think you're going to have a fire sign baby. And it happened, and I am forever grateful. I just don't think I'll ever believe my eyes when at 10 DPO I did a first response, and there was no holding up to the light, there was no shining a phone, there was no asking Paige, who I follow, who follows me on here, or Gemma, or all you guys who I contact, my friend Joe. Oh, is there a line, Kate? Is there a line? You know, I'm always like, can you see something if I hold it up to the light? And they're like, oh, I think so, I'm not sure. It was a clear pink line on 10 DPO. I took my progesterone, phoned the gynecology department, and all was great. And I know I'm going over old ground, and this isn't probably what you want to hear, but it's just to say I'm full of life. I'm embracing every second and not taking anything for granted. So every time I go to the toilet still, there's still that anxiety of wiping and seeing blood. I've had a really bad cough since I had my flu jab and the whooping cough jab, like the beginning of December. It was a cough that would not go. It worried me a bit. I let it go through Christmas, and then I phoned 111, which is a helpline that we phone before we go to an accident and emergency room in the UK. Things are really busy anyway and fraught with the NHS here, so you have to go through those routes before you get any help. I phoned my midwife and said the cough hasn't gone, it's been 3 weeks. She said you need a GP referral, you might need antibiotics because I think you might have bronchitis. I felt like I got bronchitis. It was just a very, very phlegmy cough and really kept me up at night from like midnight right through to 4 a.m, disturbing all the children and Aaron's sleep. It really was going from worse to worse from like Christmas Eve. And I was treating it just with a very cheap over-the-counter syrup. and a cough suite. It would help for about an hour, and then I was really bad. So I finally got help with that a few days ago. They listened to my chest, listened to my back, and I did have a crackle, which she said was a bacterial infection. She said it could be chest infection, could be bronchitis, but I think you're going to need a helping hand because you're pregnant and your immune system's slightly dipped now. I think it'd be good to give you some antibiotics if you're not opposing it. And to be honest, when you've had a cough for 3.5 weeks, no sleep for about 10 days, and it started just under my bump sort of cramping a bit and pulling a bit because the coughing fits were literally every 15 minutes, I was getting a bit concerned that the baby might be getting a bit uncomfortable with it as well. And I didn't want it to go into an even bigger infection where I get sinusitis or pneumonia or really need help from medicine, you know, the medical side of things, or a hospital stay or anything like that. So I did accept antibiotics. And I think this is probably about the 5th time in my whole life I've ever had antibiotics. So I'm on the 3rd day of that. And do you know what? It was my first night last night that I had I sat up for about an hour and coughed, but I actually had a good few hours sleep at set times. I am getting up 3 or 4 times for the loo. That's me when I'm pregnant. It is a good 2 or 3 or 4 times for the loo as soon as I hit that 4-month bracket. That's still happening, but it's just nice not to be coughing continuously, because it was just all the time, and it went from a dry cough in the day to a really mucousy cough at night. So yeah, 3 days worth of antibiotics. I'm on the mend, but that is my ailments at the moment. Very tired, but that I'm putting down to it's my 6th baby. I'm no spring chicken, and still taking my Pregnacare once a day. I did forget it 3 days over Christmas. I think what with rushing around, wrapping presents, doing the last minute bits, doing all my foodie bits, which you've probably seen on my YouTube channel, Ingy Mum Love, without the A, same as the YouTube channel. If you look there, you'll see that I do the lovely hams and chutneys and things. I think just with rushing around, I forgot to do my multivitamins. But I did tell that to Mandy, my midwife, and she's like, a few days won't hurt because you're leading, you know, you've got a nice lot of healthy vitamins in your life. You don't smoke, you get fresh air. A few days isn't going to matter at this stage. She said it's the first 12 weeks that are crucial. And yes, you've got to take your folic acid or your multivitamin, but just get one in you as soon as you can. And that was like the 23rd. I had my check and everything was good. The heartbeat was good on the 23rd of December. My blood pressure was better than it was the last time, and everything seemed to be quite good. So yeah, I had Mandy on the 23rd of December. I've got a phone consultation on the 17th of January from the gyno team. Apparently they always will follow you up if you've had progesterone or any extra help with infertility. And if you've, they say now, if you're at a certain age or you've had more than four children, you are slightly higher risk. So they will maybe scan you more or speak to you more. And that's exactly what's happening. I've got my anti-D injection beginning of February, which I have to have because the baby's going to be a different blood group to me, they think. They're like 85% sure with the tests they've done. And yeah, so I've got my anti-D the beginning of February. I've got a scan booked for the end of February, which they want me to have done. And I've also got a scan and blood pressure and checks in March. That's all at the hospital, all extra to what I would normally get. Because my midwife would normally just see me now end of January, 1 appointment in February, 1 in March, and then wait for my call in April to say when I'm in labour. But yeah, they are more on it with me because I've had progesterone, because I've got more than 4 children, and because of my age. So they are looking after me in that sense, but it is seriously going through the roof busy with the hospital side of things here with COVID. It's got manic, and to get that initial doctor's appointment that I had 3 days ago to get my antibiotics, you won't believe the loopholes I had to jump in. So I phoned my midwife, she couldn't help. She said, get the GP. I phoned 111, they like the out of hours service I just told you about. That was at 7:30 a.m. New Year's Day. They didn't get back to me till 11 that day, and they said someone would contact me by the end of the day. They didn't. So I had to ring on the next day, the day after New Year's Day, at about 11 o'clock saying, look, I need some help with this cough, it's terrible. They finally phoned me at like 3 o'clock that afternoon and said, all we can do is give you a GP's appointment referral for Friday, which would be today. And I just thanked them for their help and said, look, I'll see if I can get to Friday, but it has been now, that'll take it on to nearly 4.5 weeks of coughing. and I wasn't prepared to let my body go to wreck and ruin, or risk the baby, or risk having to go in a hospital and having that oxygen or something when there's people far needier than me. So it got to Wednesday, phoned the GP. They did say they saw that I'd phoned 111. They knew that I had a COVID test that was negative. I went through all the right loops first. As soon as I contacted Mandy, my midwife, she said, once you've had a PCR test, a proper COVID test that's negative, try and get antibiotics, because that's what I think you need. So yeah, I literally was very fortunate to get an appointment, but it took me almost a week just to get that consultation. So things are very busy here. So I'm forever grateful that they are booking me in all these slots, and I'm going to take them and use them. But my midwife did say they will be trying to talk me out of a home birth because of my age, because of that she said because of your age and because it's baby number 6, they're probably trying to talk you out of a home birth, but just stick to your grounds that you've had home births. It's your normal midwife doing it. It's also your friend who will work out of hours, and that's what you're having, and be very firm on it. I'm really dreading that conversation, but I think that's what the consultation's going to be in January, because they're sort of half expecting you to have probably a slightly earlier labour when you're on baby number 6. Normally it is said that you don't labour as long. You might not go your full 40 weeks when you're pregnant with number 6. But look, my last 2 babies were 5 days late. My first 3 babies were 5 days early. So I have no idea. And the last time I gave birth was 5 years ago, and so much has changed in that time. Like I say, they can tell the baby's blood group is different now, which they couldn't do 5 years ago. There's COVID around. I don't want to go in hospital. I know that I've had home births before, and yeah, so I'm all set for a home birth, God willing. Let's hope it goes that way. Unless I get seriously ill with something, then I will have a home birth. The baby has started to move a lot now. Like I said, I'm approaching 26 weeks, and the baby is fluttering a lot. Little bit lazy, I will say, like in the day, but come 4-5 o'clock at night, I feel quite a lot of wriggles now. It went from like fluttering, like fingers through a page of those little butterflies, and now it's like a wriggle, like someone's inside of my rib cage going like that. And like I say, sometimes I think, oh, I haven't felt the baby for like 4 or 5 hours, but you don't always feel immense kicks and pangs and everything at 26, 25 weeks. Normally that starts happening loads at 28 weeks onwards, but I'm very fortunate for what I can feel. I'm not going to panic because I've been pregnant before, and I do feel satisfied and reassured that what I'm feeling is relevant. So yeah, I'm feeling the baby, which is lovely. On antibiotics, so my cough isn't as bad, so I'm very happy. I've had my flu jab, which protects myself and the baby through these cold winter months, which I feel reassured. Again, I've had that before, pregnant and not pregnant, so I do feel happy with that jab. And I've had the whooping cough vaccination for the baby's protection as well, which again I've had before in pregnancy, so I'm happy with that. COVID jab, like I said before, I'm not against it. I am going to have it, but I'm definitely waiting now for after the baby, because I had a terrible time in hospital when I went for my flu injection beginning of December. I had a very pressurising midwife again, who talked down to me, condescended me, not because of the amount of children this time. Like last time it was, do I work, how many kids have I got, by the pathology lady. This one was, I'm drawing 2 boxes here and I want to see a visible tick when you come here again. And I said, oh, what's that for? That's for COVID jab number 1 and 2, which you do need. And I said, I am going to have it, but I'm not going to have it yet because I've lost babies. I'm at a certain age. I don't want to risk losing a baby at 20 weeks. She said, well, I'm telling you now, it's scientifically proven to help, blah, 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 blah. And I thought, well, you're not a scientist. The jab's only been around for 2 years. The pandemic's only been here for like 2 years. Nothing is case closed, finalised. There's some people saying it causes miscarriages, mid-cycle bleeds. There's some people saying it doesn't do anything other than help. There's so much speculation. My head is booming, boom, boom, boom. If I was 25 and it was my first baby, I probably would have this jab at 16 weeks, my second jab at 35 weeks or whatever. But I'm not. It's my last ditch attempt to have a healthy baby. I'm nearly at that stage of holding it in my arms. I am not going to risk a baby for the sake of a jab, when chances are, if I do get this COVID, God willing, with lots of rest, vitamins and help from my husband and that, I probably would just have a very bad case of flu. That's what I hope. Do you know, I just pray I don't get it. I'm just staying safe, wearing a mask every time I'm in enclosed places, not mixing with many people. If I see a friend, we go for a walk, or I have them round with the window open. I've only mixed with my mum over Christmas and New Year's. She didn't come because I had a cough, and I said to her, I'm waiting on PCR results. And my eldest was not feeling very well either. So I've only seen my mum Christmas Day. That's it. I've not had the gatherings that I would. Joanne was meant to come with her husband for drinks and nibbles. We cancelled because I hadn't been jabbed, and it was just caseloads were going higher and higher. I was meant to have my friend Kate and Bruce round for drinks. We didn't do that this year. We've literally not done any social gatherings, so I am being as healthy and fit and proactive with the care that I can do. So yeah, it was a horrible time when she kept pressurising me for the COVID jab, but I'm not having that. I was going to have it in March time. Mandy, my midwife, said, see how you feel February, March. If you fancy having it and you want to have it, then we'll talk about it. But, you know, if you're keeping yourself away from other people, sterilising things, washing your hands, wearing a mask, you're doing all you can, and you've had your flu jab, which will protect you from other cases of flu. Just stay strong and do what you want to do, because if someone pressurises me into it and something, God forbid, happens to the baby, I will never forgive that person or myself. I don't want to be in that predicament. I want to just see this through. I just want to see this through to the end and hopefully come out with my beautiful baby that I've been wanting for so long. My battery's low now. Love to all, friendship to all. Please subscribe. Please, please, please join the family of TTCers. And this is just to give you encouragement that if you haven't fallen pregnant and you're on your year or 2 year of trying, it can happen. Remember, it can happen. Go back on my vlogs and look at all the advice I can give you. Love and friendship to all, and please thumbs up this channel. See you later, guys. Bye.